No commitment between you and them. That's the reason to qualify. Discover the purpose of the appointment. Okay? What we're going to do now is we're going to move over and we're going to talk to Ryan and Christy. So we got Ryan Dutka and Christy Candleberry are with us here as well. Ryan, where are you from?
I'm from Remax, River City in Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
Excellent. Oh, it's warm up there. Yeah. And Christy, where are you from?
I'm from Remax Homes Incorporated in Fenton, Michigan.
Excellent. Well, listen, thank you both for being here because you all got such busy schedules, and to fly in here and help me out, I really appreciate it. Ryan, how long have we been working together?
About 3 years, Rich.
About 3 years now. Christy, how long have we been working together?
About 2.5 years.
About 2.5 years. Excellent. So what I want to do is just let everybody know who you are. What I want to do now is I want to turn this over to Les, and Les is going to do a full-blown listing presentation. Now, you guys ready?
We're ready.
Are you going to be tough on them?
We're going to be tough.
Okay. Leslie, take it away.
Okay, great. Knock, knock, knock.
Hello.
Hi, Ryan. How are you?
Les.
Yeah.
Pleasure to meet you.
Yeah, good to see you. Now, Ryan, I want to thank you for having me over tonight. And just to start out, is it okay if we have a quick look at the home?
Come on in. Let's take a look.
Okay, terrific. Now, while we're doing that, I'd like to point out some things if we can make anything more marketable. Would that be all right with you?
That would work.
Terrific. Well, why don't we have a seat here at the kitchen table?
Great.
Okay, great. Now, you wanted to mention something about the...
Yeah, Les, we were planning on doing some painting on the upstairs hallway as well as some trim. I wondered if you thought if that would be a good idea.
You know what? I think it's a great idea, Ryan, and obviously you only have one chance to create a good first impression. It's going to make the home a lot brighter. I definitely think it's a great idea. Now, is that something you're going to have to hire someone to do, or can you do that yourself?
Well, Les, I'm not that handy, but Christy is, so we'll be on our way to Home Depot after the appointment.
Okay, terrific. Well, you're a lucky guy. Now, Christy, can I ask you, is that something you can do in the next few days?
Well, if Ryan says we're on our way to Home Depot, we're on our way, Les.
Okay, perfect. Well, that's terrific. Now, why don't we just get started? And I want to set your minds at ease. In order for me to serve you best today, it's important that we're 100% honest with each other and have a complete understanding of your plans. So keep in mind, I'm not here to convince you of anything. I'm just here to see how I can help, okay?
Okay, that sounds fair.
Is that okay?
That's all right.
Great. I just want to go over a few questions that we went over last night. Is that okay?
Sure.
Excellent. Now, Christy, you did say you're moving to the Colorado Springs area, right?
Right. We're really excited about it.
Okay, terrific. And Ryan, now, Christy mentioned May is the time frame you wanted to be there?
Yeah, about the middle of May would work for us, Les.
Okay, so mid-May. Okay, perfect. Now, you didn't tell me what you wanted to list the home for. You weren't sure. However, you were familiar with some sales somewhere in the 270, 280 range?
Yeah, we think a couple of them have sold right around there, 270, 280, but we'd like to hear what you have to say and see if we're within range.
Okay, perfect, and not a problem. I'll get to that in just a second. Now, in terms of a mortgage, did you get a chance to check that?
Yep, we sure did, and it's 120.
It's
Is that
120?
correct?
Yeah, it's 120,000 less.
Okay, great. And I sent you that package of information. Did you get a chance to go over it?
Yeah.
I did, and I really like that top 10 features of the home on the last page. Are you going to be incorporating that?
You betcha, Ryan, and I appreciate if you take some time to fill that out. And what we're going to do is use all that information to help us market your property better, because nobody knows it better than you. Would you agree?
That's true.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's just continue on here. I'd like to just set a short agenda for our meeting in order for me to serve you best. Now, there's probably 3 things you want answered tonight. The first thing is what your home will sell for in today's market and why. The second one is how long will it take to sell? And the last one is, am I qualified as your agent to get the job done? Is there anything you else want me to answer tonight?
Yeah, ask him about that.
Well, Les, we were really wondering what your commission is, and we're also wondering what the length of contract is that you take.
Okay, so the real estate fee and the length of the contract. Okay, I'll just make a note of that. And is it okay if we get to that in just a moment, because it comes up a little further in our discussion?
That'd be all right, as long as you don't forget.
Don't you worry, we won't forget, and I don't think you'll let me, will you?
I won't.
Okay, not a problem. So let's continue on. Let's start with the price.
Okay.
Now, what I've done is I've prepared a comparative market analysis to help us with that, and essentially there's really 2 things that we need to consider when pricing your home. The first one is homes that are presently for sale, and essentially that's our competition when we go to market. And the second one is homes that have recently sold. And the bottom line is you and I don't determine what homes are worth. The buyers do, and here's how it works. What they do is they go out and look at all the homes for sale suitable to them at any one point in time, and they'll choose the one that is the best value. Now, does all that stuff make sense?
Yeah, that makes perfect sense, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty simple, right? Now, you've had a couple agents in. Did they prepare something like this for you?
Well, they did, but...
It wasn't quite as detailed.
Yeah.
Okay, so not as detailed, not a problem. And what price did they suggest for the house?
Well, one agent said 250. Can you believe that?
Wow.
We didn't like that agent, so we got rid of that agent right away. So you're only in competition against one other agent, and that agent told us 280.
The other one's a 280.
That's
so
pretty
250
good.
and 280.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're leaning towards the 280 right now.
Okay, well, and I can't blame you.
Yeah.
Not a problem. Now, what I'd like to do is just go over these sales with you if I can.
Oh, sure.
There's 3 homes that have sold very, very similar to yours in the area. The first one sold for $260, the second one for $265, and the last one sold for $272. Now, that was just a little bit bigger than your home. Now, based on these 3 sales, what I'd like to do is just compare apples to apples. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
Makes sense to me.
And this is the market information available right now. It's very, very current. So what I want to ask you is, based on this, what do you feel you should price your home at?
Well, that other realtor did say 280, and even though these comparables are in our neighborhood, you know, I think we need to stick with 280. If that's what someone told us, that's a great price.
Okay, well, that's fair enough. I can appreciate you wanting that. Ryan, are you on the same wavelength?
Yeah, the more the merrier.
Not a problem. And here's what I'd like to recommend. Based on the market and what it's telling us, this is where I derive my price. I would suggest a price of $269.9. Now, I know it's not what you want. However, if we could get you that, or very, very close to it, would you be comfortable starting there?
No.
No, that's way too low.
That's way too low. You know, for that extra $10,000, I mean, I can buy some furniture, and, you know, that's a lot of money. I think we're going to stick to our guns, aren't we?
Yeah, it's kind of 280 is what we're hoping for.
Okay, well, not a problem. And, you know, I can understand you want to get as much as you possibly can. And based on that, I'd like to ask you a couple of questions. If a buyer was to come along today for your home, what price would you seriously consider?
Well, you're on our side, right?
I am.
Okay, so between you and me, I think we'd probably take, what, 275?
275 would be probably the bottom line. That's
Yeah,
about
I think
it.
that would be our bare minimum.
Okay, so 275 would be the bare minimum. And that's fair enough. And again, these comparables that I've shown you, they're very, very similar to your home. So I was just curious to know, why do you feel your home is worth maybe $10,000 to $15,000 more than what they're selling for?
Well, I mean, our curb appeal is fantastic. We've got a bay window in the front. We've just redone the kitchen, the flooring, and I even have the heavy-duty doorbell. That's got to be worth a couple grand right there.
Right, that came all the way from Italy, by the way.
Yeah, I can just imagine, boy.
That's really
heavy-duty
nice.
doorbell.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, fair enough. And again, you've done a lot of great things to this home, and it really shows well, and you can pat yourselves on the back. However, what you got to keep in mind is a lot of these comparables have had a lot of upgrades done to them as well. See, here's what I'd like to ask you, Ryan. How old is this home right now?
It was built in about 84 last.
About 84? Okay, so it's about 20 years old, right?
20 years.
Okay, fair enough. Now, when a house is anywhere from 10, maybe 20 years old, maybe even older, would you agree with me that the homeowner would have probably done something to upgrade it? Would that make sense?
Yeah,
yes, it
I mean, our
does
neighbors have all upgraded, and that would make sense.
They may have done the kitchen, bathrooms, windows. I mean, there's a number of things they could have done, right? See, again, it's not easy to price a home. In fact, it's very, very difficult to be as objective as possible. However, we got to remain as honest as we possibly can with ourselves. Now, I'd like to give you a little analogy, if I may. If we were out looking for a home, the 3 of us, and we found 2 very similar homes, one was listed for, say, $279 or $275, as you mentioned, and the other one was $269. Which one would you buy?
Well, the 269, of course.
Of course you would. And don't you think most buyers would feel just like yourselves?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. You don't think we can get 280? Maybe could we start at 275 and we can always come down?
Well, you know what? Essentially, you're the boss here and you're going to set the price. However, to get you listed, sold, and closed and get you to Colorado Springs on time, I've got to recommend a price of $269.9. Now, if I can negotiate that amount for you, we're very, very close to it. Would you be comfortable starting there?
I really think that extra money would buy a lot of furniture, and I feel a lot more comfortable at the 275 range. Do you think we can just try it there just for our peace of mind?
Well, you know what, Christy? It sounds to me that that's what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Why don't we do this? Why don't we start at 275? That's what you're comfortable with. And I don't want you to do anything that you wouldn't be, feeling good about. So let's start at 275. What I'm going to do is give it a really good shot for 2 to 3 weeks. And if we don't get any offers, would you be open to reevaluating at that point in time?
Yeah, I think that would be fair because then we know that we've tried it, and you know, if we can get that extra money, then good for us.
Okay, perfect. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to write in here on the listing that the price is $275.
Okay.
And I can just make a little note here for myself that what we'll do is in 2 to 3 weeks, if we don't get an offer, what we'll do is we'll have a conversation and we'll discuss the price again, okay?
Okay, that sounds fair.
That works for us.
Okay, perfect. So let's continue on. The second thing I wanted to review with you is how long is it taking homes to get sold in your neighborhood? And right now, the local real estate board is telling us it's taking about 45 days in your neighborhood to get a home sold. Now, in a second, I'm going to show you how my team and I are going to do that a little quicker for you, but I want to work with that 45 days. So with 45 days to sell, and essentially 30 to 60 days for the closing period, it's roughly going to take about 90, say 120 days to get you listed, sold, and closed.
Okay.
So that's going to take us roughly to the end of April, maybe mid-May to get you moved by. Is that going to work?
Yeah, that's perfect, isn't
That's
it?
what we're hoping for.
Mid-May? Yeah.
It's going to work perfectly.
Perfect.
Okay, terrific. Well, I just want to summarize quickly. So far, we talked about price. We've talked about timing. Is there any questions on those two items?
Well, Les, we were again wondering what length of contract you take.
Yeah,
Okay, well, not a problem.
really
And
important to Ryan.
It's important to Ryan.
Really
okay.
important to Ryan.
Fair enough. Ryan, all the listings I take are for 120 days. Now, essentially, from your perspective, it's a one-day-at-a-time listing. Can I tell you how that works?
Please do.
do.
I want to know.
Let me share this with you. Basically, what we do is we provide all our clients an unconditional guarantee. And essentially, the way it works is if you're ever unhappy with our services, you can cancel the listing at a moment's notice. I mean, it doesn't get simpler than that, does it?
No, so you're saying if we list with you and we are unhappy, we can just cancel our listing.
That's absolutely correct. And it's there in writing for you.
It's in writing even.
It's right here.
See, here's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take the pressure off the two of you and put it on me. I'm the one who has to perform now, right?
Right. Are you comfortable with that?
Well, it is in writing, so I can live with that, Les.
We can live with that.
So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to write in here on the listing. It starts the 3rd of February, which is today, and it goes to the 3rd of June, which is 120 days, okay?
Okay.
120 days, perfect. So let's continue on. The last thing I wanted to talk about is my success rate and how I've been able to help so many people like yourselves get their homes sold. Now, just before I do that, I'd like you to realize how important it is to select the right agent. And right now, the local real estate board is reporting to us that less than 68% of homes that go for sale are actually selling. Now, did you know that?
No, we thought everything was selling. We see sold signs everywhere.
Yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
Sometimes the media gives that impression. However, only 68% of homes that go to market are actually going to sell. Now, you did speak with a couple realtors already, right?
Yeah,
And did they bring that important fact to your attention?
not at all.
They never mentioned it, Les.
They didn't. Kind of interesting. In any event, what I want to share with you is a document called Market Watch, and this is put out by our local real estate board. Essentially, it's packed full of all kinds of real estate statistics. Now, what's important for us to focus on, let me just put that there so the two of you can see it. What's important for us to look at here is your neighborhood, which is district number N11. And in the calendar year of 2003, 3,035 homes were listed for sale, and only 2,063 actually sold. And that's where I get that 68% figure. That works out to exactly 68%. Now, what's important for you to know is that 32% of homes that get listed actually don't sell.
Wow.
Yeah,
We don't want to be in that 32%.
No,
you sure don't.
we want to move, Les.
Can you see how important it is to choose the right agent?
Definitely.
Yeah,
See that?
it's critical. You don't want to get caught up in that 32% crowd, right?
No, we definitely need to move.
Exactly. So let me continue on. Essentially, and here's my belief, you know, and I'm not saying this in any way to alarm you folks. I just want to impress upon you that it's not as easy to get a home sold as most people think. The bottom line is, as your agent, am I qualified to handle the sale for you? And here's what I've learned over the years. What's important to my clients is, does what I do actually work? Because I can do all the marketing things in the world to sell your home, but essentially the marketing's not that important unless it works. Does that make sense?
Right, that's what we want, somebody that has proven results.
Yeah, somebody who's a proven track record, right?
Right.
And in comparison to the average agent, my team and I have been able to provide some incredible results for our clients, and I'd like to share them with you right now.
Okay.
What I've done is I've put this in graph form just so you can visualize it a little better. And right now, 96% of our listings are selling compared to the average agent in the marketplace. who's selling only 68% of their listings. And obviously the benefit to the two of you as the sellers is you can rest assured our home selling system is going to get the job done for you. And you're moving to Colorado Springs.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah. So, Ryan, when you look at that 68%, what's the first thing that comes to your mind?
That we're staying put, and that's just not an option. We got to move.
Exactly. You got to move, right? Now, the second thing I wanted to show you is the average agent right now is actually selling 8 homes in a calendar year. My team and I, we've sold last year 80 homes, which is 10 times more than the average agent. We sold 80 homes. Now, again, the benefit to you here is that we have a lot of experience. So if anything happens during the sales process, if a challenge occurs, chances are we've dealt with it many times before. So we're going to have a smooth sailing process. And obviously, that's what you want, right?
Yeah, and that's pretty impressive again.
You want to work with someone who's got experience.
Right.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, the third thing I wanted to share with you is that the average agent is getting their listing sold in 45 days. Now, I've already touched on this a little bit earlier. Now, in comparison, we're getting our listings sold in 26 days on average. And the interesting thing here is if we can get your home sold, let's say, in 26 days with a suitable closing date, you're going to have a lot more time to plan and coordinate your move, right?
Yeah, that would be great if we had some extra time.
And any extra time that we can have to reduce the stress level helps me out. You know the old saying, Les, happy wife, happy life?
Yeah, you betcha. I've heard that before. And
He's so sweet sometimes.
Sure is. Now, Christy, let me ask you this. Did you know that selling a home is one of the most stressful times in a person's life?
You know, I didn't know that, but I'm starting to learn, so I think it's going to be stress-free, hopefully.
Yeah, can you see how that 26 days is going to eliminate a lot of stress for you?
Yeah, definitely. That will definitely help.
Yeah, imagine having to make your beds every day, keeping the house tidy, strangers coming at odd hours. Wow, if we can even knock that down a day or two for you, it makes a huge difference.
It sure does, Les. I mean, she's no Molly maid.
I hate to clean.
I'm not going to comment on that one.
Okay.
But last but not least, I just want to talk about the money. And obviously, when you're selling your most valuable asset, money's an important thing. Would you agree?
Definitely. That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, it sure is. The average agent's getting 97% of the asking price on the sale of their listings in your area, which actually isn't too bad.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not too bad at all. In comparison, my team and I are getting 99.1% of the list price for our clients, which is 2.1% more money in your pocket at the end of the day, and those are bottom line dollars, right?
That's even better.
Yeah,
That helps.
It sure helps. And let me ask you this, Ryan: you'd rather that in your pocket than the other person's, the buyer's, right?
Yeah, it's better than mine.
It sure is. Now, which one of the two of you is the mathematician?
Well, that would be Ryan.
That'd be
He's
me.
the numbers guy.
Ryan, the numbers man. Okay, well, let me ask you this, Ryan: 2.1% of 275. What does that work out to?
Let's see, that's about $5,600, Les.
Yeah, you're right. $5,700, and that's going into your pocket over and above.
That would be my new furniture.
Yeah, and maybe some roses
Yeah.
for those comments.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We've covered a lot of things today, and I don't want to belabor the point anymore. Why don't I show you how the paperwork looks, okay?
Okay.
Okay, great. So essentially, here's a listing form, and what I've done is I've put the price in here. Obviously, it's $275. The listing time period is 120 days. It's made out to my company, Remax. Your names are on here, Christy and Ryan. Your property address and the real estate fee of 6%.
What?
That's a lot.
6%.
Yes,
Yeah.
6%.
What did those other realtors say?
Well, less. Yeah, the first guy that came out said he'd do it for 4%. And the second guy said he'd do it for 6%. But if he brought his own buyer, buyer into the equation, he'd knock it down a few points. I mean, is there anything you can do to help us out?
Well, you know, Ryan, I can appreciate you asking that. And here's how I approach the real estate fees. Essentially, what we do is we charge all our clients the same amount. And you know what? First of all, it's excellent value for the services we provide. And second of all, essentially, I believe it's being very, very fair to people. Now, let me ask you this. If you were at the grocery store and you saw a friend of yours and they were listed with us for a lesser real estate fee, I mean, how would you feel?
Yeah. We'd feel pretty bad.
Pretty upset. I'd probably
Yeah.
go to your office and give you one of these.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe in being fair with everyone. Isn't that the kind of agent you want to work with?
Definitely. But 6%, I mean, there goes my couch, and that's a ton of money. I mean, don't you like us? I mean, can't you help us out like a little bit?
You know what, Christy? I like you guys a lot, and I want to do business with you. I'd like to list the home tonight. And let me just shift this a little bit, okay? Ultimately, the reason you're going to hire someone like me, a professional agent, is to negotiate you the best price on the sale of your home. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
That's what we want.
Okay, you'd agree with that. See, here's the thing. These other agents, they've demonstrated to you up front that they can't even negotiate their own paycheck, which is the money that goes into their pocket. What I got to ask you is, what makes you think they can negotiate your paycheck, which is the money that's going to go into your pocket, the price of your home?
That's a good point, Les.
That's a great point. So you're going to stay firm on that 6%, even though...
Well, you know what, Chrissy? I'm going to go to bat, and I'm going to get you as much money for this house as I possibly can, because I'm a stronger negotiator. And that's the kind of person you want to work with, right?
Yeah, and we don't pay you unless the house sells, right?
You don't pay me unless the house sells.
And you negotiate some 2.1% or something like that more for us.
Correct.
Our calculation means about $2,600 extra even after the full commission.
Yeah, so I could
So we're
still
still
get my
ahead.
couch, but maybe no roses?
I'll buy you the roses. Honey.
All right. I think we're all right with it.
Okay, terrific. Now, all we need to do is acknowledge the paperwork. So who wants to go first?
You first, honey.
Here you go.
Great job. Great job. Wow. That was outstanding. It really was.
Thank
It was outstanding. I want to ask Ryan and Christy a question, because I've been in the position before where I've done some role plays and listing presentations, and even though you're agents yourself, there's still emotions that are taking place when you're sitting at the table, when there's a dialogue happening here, and there's also an energy taking place between you and Leslie. And honestly, how did it feel?
Well, I think personally I've learned a lot from Leslie listening to him do his listing presentation, but what I look at is that he is definitely in control, and he definitely has our emotions with his, and he definitely has the statistics to back himself so that he's very credible.
Yes. Great.
I felt that he was very prepared. And because of that, I had the utmost confidence that he could get the job done.
Right.
And anytime I had a question, he came back with a few responses immediately, and he didn't hesitate.
Yeah.
And that's the type of person that I'd want to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, he was prepared. But I think it boiled down to what I saw there was I saw him unemotional but very professional. But every time you said something, gave him an objection, what he did was he handled the objection in a way that really was almost a positive benefit to you. Would you agree with that?
Right.
And I think that was the key, because you could see the advantage to, sort of going the way Leslie was trying to lead you to go, which I thought was a strength in it. So anyway, I want to thank all three of you. That was an outstanding job. Great job. Okay. Here's what I want to do. I want to go through the rest of the workbook. I've got about 6 or 7 points here, and the purpose of these points is now to help you understand sort of the theory behind what just happened here, because there were some things that happened that we really need to understand why they happened. And understand that when we changed Leslie's presentation, the whole first part of his presentation is the same. We never touched that. He's had that presentation, I think, forever. What we worked on was we was demonstrating his ability to get the home sold. That was what Leslie and I worked on when working on his presentation. Because the first part was unbelievable. He was always good at pricing. That wasn't a problem. He was always good at building rapport. Where the challenge was, I think, because he's only getting 38% of the listings, was that they didn't believe him and they didn't have faith he could do the job. And would you agree with this? It is an emotional decision we make, not a logical decision. See, what we do is we make decisions emotionally and we rationalize our decisions logically. So in other words, we make them with our emotion, and then we go home and rationalize why we did what we did logically. That's the way the human mind works. And I was sitting across the room listening to that presentation, and what I felt was I felt confidence. Would you agree? I felt confidence coming from him. I felt a belief coming from him. And I'm sitting there going, he'd get my home sold. I know he would get my home sold. I know he's going to go to work for me. I can tell this guy's full-time. He does this all day long. He's very good at what he does. Regardless of what he says, I think what happened at that table was he touched him emotionally. Would you all agree with that statement? That's the key. That's the key. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to the first point on page number 3. And here's what it says. If we can't demonstrate our competitive advantage, and there's some fill in the blanks here. If we can't demonstrate our competitive advantage, then commission will always be an issue. See, if we can't demonstrate our competitive advantage, then commission will always be an issue. Now, how many people here actually have trouble in your marketplace where there's agents out there cutting commissions all day long? Raise your hands. It is like commonplace right across North America. It doesn't matter where you go. And I'll tell you something, it's going to get worse. Now, the question is, can we still negotiate a high commission ourselves? And the answer is, yes, we can. But we must be able to differentiate ourselves. We must be able to communicate a competitive advantage. Think about this. Let's say you're going to buy a brand new car. And you go out there and you look at, say, a Toyota Camry. And there's a hunter green Toyota Camry, beige leather seats, central air conditioning, and 6-pack CD player. And what you do is you take it out for a test drive, and you drive it around, and you go, oh, yeah, this is pretty good. And you go back, and what you do is you check on how much it is, but you don't buy it because you want to what? You want to shop around. Sure, I got to go shop because I want the best what? Deal. And then you go to the next Toyota dealership, you pull them a lot, and what's sitting right in front of you? I mean a hunter green Toyota Camry, beige leather seats, sunroof, 6-pack CD player, exactly the same car. What just became the only issue in your negotiation? Price. The only thing you care about is price because you get the same thing at two different places. Well, think about this. If the buyers and sellers, I shouldn't say the buyers and sellers, but the sellers think they can get the same thing from all real estate agents, what becomes the issue in negotiation? Price. Now let me ask this question. Generally speaking, do most sellers today think all real estate agents do the same thing? And the answer is yes. So guess what becomes the issue in negotiation? Price or commission, generally speaking. What we need to do is demonstrate our value. Do you know the value we have? The value we have is this. The value we have is the difference between what they think they need and what we can communicate they really need. You see where I'm going with that? You know what they think they need? They think they need MLS. That's what they think they need. You put my home in MLS, it's going to sell. But we know they need more than MLS, so we got to be able to communicate what they really need, and the minute we communicate what they really need, will commission become less of an issue? Yes. It'll never become a non-issue. It'd be foolish to say that, but it'll become less of an issue. That's why it was less of an issue with Christy and Ryan, because they're sitting there going, we want less. At the end of the presentation, they're thinking to themselves, we want him. And get this, only 10% of the public shop strictly for price. 90% just want value. And ladies and gentlemen, that must be true, because if everybody's shopping for the best price, we wouldn't have Hyatt hotels, Marriott hotels, Mercedes-Benz, Cadillacs, expensive clothes, expensive restaurants. No, we'd all drive like a Hugo, and we go through drive-through McDonald's every day. So it is a fact that people will spend money as long as they see they're getting value, but it's up to us to demonstrate the value. The next point says